Okay, thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody, students and teacher that coming for this opportunity. Before we start our material today, let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Rifki Setianugrah, but you can call me Mas Rifki or Rifki. Now we are going to discuss something that really important and something that really discussable in our life. Yeah. But before we are going to discuss this material, I'd like to show you some pictures that related to our material today. After that, I want to ask you the question: what is the relation between that picture with our material today? Got it? Okay. This is the first picture. Second one. Third one. Fourth. Fifth. And the sixth. Is there any thought or ideas about what was the picture about? And anything can guess that what is the relation between this picture with our material today? Yeah? Anyone want to give some question or want to give some opinion related to the picture? No one? All right. The picture just we saw is the picture of the natural disaster. Yes, it's clearly about the natural disaster. There is a flood, there is a forest burn, and then also the folk disaster. It's also related that it's happening today in our province, our beloved country. That happens today. And the last this natural disaster is also the eruption, right? It's always happened in our beloved country. Now, what is the relation between those pictures that I've told to you and our material today? Anyone can guess? Yes, we will talking about the green politics. It's a really important and it's really impactful to our life aspect of life. And I want to introduce you one of the political thoughts that related to the ideas of environmental and the movement of the green up towards the political movement or the political issue. Before I ask you, before we are moving forward to our material, before we are discuss more, I'll tell you about what is green politics, what is the idea. I want to ask you about there. If you have to choose between the economy or environment, which one will you should consider as priority? Whether you want to choose environment as a priority or economy as a priority, which one? If you have to put one aspect above each other, above another aspect, environment, yeah, economy. All right. We will discuss why environment is also an important aspect that really impact in our life. But now we are going to discuss what is the green politics that impactful in our life. Maybe any one of you have wondered what is green politics. Now we are going to discuss this a whole ideas of the green politics. This is the table of contents that I want to show you. First, we are going to discuss about what is the green politics. We want to know about the definition, of course. What is green politics? Where does this come from? And who's say to the idea? How does the timeline, the history of the green politics theory comes up, right? And then also, this is also important to discuss the terms of the green politics versus the environmentalism. Sometimes maybe some students have a wrong use the terms of the green politics and then environmentalism because it's similar, but this is show us something really different between the green politics and the environmentalism. But after that, we will discuss more about these two terms. Okay. And the last one, we will discuss about the basic assumption. This is the most important part of this presentation that I will show you. What is the idea of the green politics. Why does these ideas come from? What are the ideas and what does this impact to our life? Okay. First, what is the green politics? Anyone want to give opinion or ideas about what is the definition of green politics? Exactly. Like almost like most of the ideology, the green politics theory is also a political ideology. The same like realism or liberalism or structuralism, they are also a political ideology, but they have a differences. What are they? They are have aims to create the more ecological and more sustainable society rooted in four basic values. So they put the ideology of ecology and sustainable values as the priority of their political agenda, and they have a basic four values that they are uphold. First of all, is the green ecologism. What is the green ecologism? Green ecologism is the idea to put environmentalism is more priority than others. For example, like economy. For example, like business. For example, like industry. All those activities no more important rather than the green ecologism. If something industrial activity that give the bad impact towards the environmentalism, then the government at that time should consider more or should give more attention if there is the impact towards the environmentalism. If those uh, activity like industrial or economy or trade, international trade, bring a negative impact to green ecologism. So the value, basic value rooted by the green ecologism. And then the second one is non-violence. It's also upheld by the green politics movement or green politics theory because they don't want to use any violence, want to approach the people. They want to campaign about the green politics using non-violence. They don't want to go to the war if they want to campaign about doing green politics. They use a soft way. They use a very uh, soft approach to campaign about the green politics theory. And then also the third value, they also uphold the idea of social justice. What is social justice? They believe that everyone should be considered as should be treated equal, whether it's a woman, or whether it's a man, a gender, equality, and so on and so forth. So the social justice means there is no lack, there's no gap between the rich people or the poor people. So there should be an equality between those people at that time. So that is the value of social justice that also bring by the green politics theory. And the last value that they also uphold is the grassroots democracy. Why they should, they believe also in the democracy, but the most important thing that they put more concern is the grassroots democracy. What is the grassroots democracy? It means that if a democracy is only belong to one group of people, that means that not there will be no equality among those people. So the grassroots means every single people have a right to choose, to have a vote, to have what is it, to have a right to in political agenda. So the grassroots democracy means that every single people or every single person have a same or equality right in order to improve their political right. All right. Now we already discussed about the definition and the values of the green politics. Now we continue. When we are talking about the green politics, we have to know about the history. We have to know about the timeline. When exactly this idea came from and when exactly does this idea emerge, right? So it started in 1960s. At that time, after World War II, the people just celebrate in euphoria, within euphoria to celebrate, oh, we are out of a war. We are already stopping the war. It's time to improve our economy. By what? By improving their industrial activity. So at that time, the people are in euphoria, encouraging industrial activity, producing bag or shoes or anything that makes them rich and rich and rich. So in 1960s, nobody cares about the environmental issues. At that time, only a few people, very few people realized that the industrial activity really bring the bad impact toward environment. So at that time in 1960, the United Nations ever published an article that 60% of the industrial activity bring the bad impacts towards the environmental. For example, like a chemical waste or even a smoke produced by the factory, it brings bad impact to the environmentalism at that time. So in 1960s that happened, and after that, in 1970s, more people have awareness towards the environmentalism. Finally, the first conference, international conference, happened in Stockholm in 1972. At that time, United Nations, under the title of UN Conference on Human and Environmental, is already signed. So that is the first sign that the world society realized that the ideas of environment is really important in our life. So it also have bring a very clear sign signal that environment is have to be protected. It's also uh, it's also established the first political party. So the agenda of green politics is no more like only an ideology, but it's already become a political party. It's first established in New Zealand in 1973, where the officially political party bring the ideas of the green politics. And then it's moving forward to 1980s, when the people have more and more awareness to the environmentalism. A lot of the scholars also talk about the idea of green politics. For example, like Vandana Shiva, Wolfgang Sachs, and also Matthias Finger. Those people are the scholars who bring the idea, what is the green politics theory? Why this is so important? So this is the signal of the emergence of the green politics literature become more rich and make awareness to the people or of the citizen of the world. From the 90s until right now, after all activity, those all the political agendas happen, finally a lot of the institutional or state agreement agree to sign or to what is it to ratify agreement. For example, like Kyoto Protocol, Paris Agreement, G20 summit. Like our president, Mr. Joko Widodo, is also a part of this G20. That he also concerned on how the environmentalism should be protected, should be put in the priority of the agendas, political agendas. So currently, the environmental issues is no more become a marginal issue or marginal for some a group of people, but it's already become the first priority of every country or every state or every institutional, right? So those are the timeline of the green politics movement from 1960s until currently or until now. The ideas on how they emerge and how they evolve year by year. Now we are moving to the definition or the ideas. Sometimes the students have a trick, have a trap, being trapped by these two ideas or these two terms, the green politics and the environmentalism. Sometimes they discuss about the environmentalism by using the terms of the green politics, but sometimes they're using the green politics, but actually they are talking about the environmentalism. These two terms have a different perspective, have a different basics. So in here, I want to give you a clear definitions or a clear ideas what these two green politics and environmentalism all about? Okay, the first one is the green politics. If you are talking about the green politics, the people who believe in the green politics say that the structure or the ideas of the state or the institutional is the culprit of the environmental crisis. So they are accused that, for example, state or UN or the organization, governmental organizations, is the main actor who create the environmental crisis. They have been skeptical about the nation state and structural world politics to respond to the environmental crisis. Why? Because they say that the states or the institutional international institution always have the agenda to improve economy rather than the environment. So they don't really give some points, give a positive ideas to the effort of the state or the effort of the international institution to solve the problem of the environmental crisis. So they are focusing the need of the global scale transformation. Remember, the keyword is the transformation, global scale transformation. They want to revolution. They want to give uh, revolution to the movement of the
more important rather than environmentalism. Okay, the next one is the structure.
and then the other one is the environmentalism. While the environmentalism believe that the only actors that can solve the environmental issue or environmental crisis is the structures or the state. Because of what? Because the states or the institutions have a more power, have more policy to create a policy to solve the environmental crisis. So this idea is more compatible for the liberal institutions from Keohane. And then also they're focusing on the emergence of international regime and sustainable development. So that's why we acknowledge the idea of the Millennium Development Goals and then currently SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So their orientation is more a problem-solving orientation rather than revolution. So these two make a difference between the green politics and environmentalism. So please don't be being trapped to use these two terms because they have a from different perspective, different basic of ideas. Now we are moving to the most important thing of the ideas of the green politics theory, the basic assumption of the green politics. Basically, there is a three basic assumption of the green politics itself. First of all, is the anti-anthropocentrism. And the second one is the limitation of growth. And the last one is the decentralization. Now we want to discuss one by one about the basic assumption of the green politics. First of all, anti-anthropocentrism. The green politics theory believes that they are against the idea of anthropocentrism. Because of what? Because the anthropocentrism, they assume that anthropocentrism is the exploitation movement, it's exploitation toward environmental. Uh, Anthropocentrism put a human as the highest priority, highest in the food chain. So they believe everything that around the human can be used, can be exploited by the human itself for the beneficial of the human itself. For example, like water, source of water, a forest, a rainforest, land, and then wood they can use, and then also what is it? Uh, gold, for example, and more unsustainable energy used for beneficial of the human itself. So they are against this idea without using the idea of the egocentrism. They call it egocentrism because of what? Because of the people as the central, as the main uh, ideas of the food chains. And then they propose the ecocentrism, while they propose the ecocentrism, which means ecocentrism is the idea that makes the human is not more important rather than environmentalism. So the people can get the beneficial from the environment, but the people also have to give something to protect the environmentalism. So we are no more the highest stage of the food chain, but we are within the food chain itself. This is the idea that brings by the green political theory or the green political movement. We have to create the harmony relation between the human and the environment. That is the first idea. The second idea or the second assumption is the limitation of growth. This is what I call one of the most extremely ideas come from green politics theory, because they explain that if the economic population always grow, always growing up, there will be more degradation of the environmental issues. The earth or the environment will be have exceeding carrying capacity, and then also exceeding productive capacity, exceeding absorptive capacity, and also if the human have a technology to stop that, to prevent that problem, the technology will not solve the problem. There will be just suspend, but never stop the crisis. Someday, the earth or the environment will fight back, will give the bad impacts. That's what that's proved by currently happen now in our province of flood. For example, flood disaster happened because of what? Because of a lot of oil palm plantations change the forest of Kalimantan, for example. So they're asking, they propose the new agendas to stop, to limit the growth. This is most extremely come from the green politics ideas, green politics theories, because they want to limit the population in order to stop the idea, to stop the environmental crisis itself. So that is the limitation of growth. And the last one, or the last ideas, agendas that they believe from the green politics theories is decentralization. As I told you in the first slide before, that the green politics theory have a skeptical views towards the state in order to solve the problem of environmental crisis. They're asking for a decentralization. What is decentralization? They believe the state have no effective way to solve the environmental crisis. So they propose the local communities have to encourage in order to solve the idea of environmental crisis. They have more efficient because local people have more awareness to protect their environment. For example, like Dayak people. Dayak people is one of the community that really engage with their environment. Like they protect their forest, they protect their water of resource, source of water. So the green politics theory believes that the local communities, for example, like Dayak or maybe suku in Papua, suku Sasak in Papua, they have a more awareness in order to protect their environment, their forest, their water source. So decentralization in here means that to encourage this local community in order to protect their natural resources. Okay, I think that is all of the introduction of the green politics theory. Now we are going to the conclusion of this presentation. What are the ideas? What actually the green politics talk about? Well, I have to say to you that environment, the conclusion of these ideas of this green politics, they want to show that environment is a part of our life, which cannot be perceived anymore as a secondary aspect of life. So the people who believe in green politics want the more revolutionary movement in order to solve the environmental crisis. No more become like in a formality, no more become agendas, political agendas, but they want action. They want a real impact to protect the environmental areas. And the second one, the green politics is the new approach of the political thought. Is a different from the liberalism or the realism approach of the political thought, which bring the environmental issues as a priority in public policy. So uh, we can see currently a lot of people who are aware about the environment is no more a marginal group of people, but they are really strong and then uh, uh, campaign to uh, attract the awareness not only from the uh, people, but also they are asking for a new generation, for the future generation that can make this world its better. Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. The last one, I would like you to discuss with me. If there is a question, what will you choose between protecting environmental or improving economy? It's time to discuss. If you have any question or any opinion regarding, if you have opinion about regarding this political theory, please share with me. Then we can discuss it after this. Thank you very much for this opportunity.